Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Let's see.
Yes, you can.
Good. We'll wait for a few more people to join.
Hi, Leon. Hi, Sam.
Hi, guys. And Bella and Judy, hi.
Hi, Bella and Judy. I don't recognize you, but we all changed.
I do.
You do? Okay. I recognize you, Sam, a little bit.
Would you like the thing in the background?
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You're very creative.
You can all unmute yourselves now.
I said you put a lot of work and effort into this. It shows.
You know what? When you're retired, it's easy.
No, you still have to know what you're doing, which I know.
I guess.
I'm still trying to get this on my computer. I'm only on my phone. I can't get onto my computer. So you talk about brilliant here.
Mm.
Oh my God.
Hello, everybody. This is too exciting.
Oh,
You're kind of in the shadows, Esther.
I wonder why. Let me see if I can move over. I see that point. I'm moving. Here I go.
Move and groove.
how about turning on the lights?
There we go. Is that better? Can you see
Yeah.
me?
Better.
Oh,
Hi, everybody. It's good to see everyone. The people here already.
yeah. Let's see it. That's a
Hi, Leon. We live a few blocks away from each other. Leon.
Are we talking? Who?
We're gonna do, this is just foreplay. We're gonna get started in a little while.
Oh, hi. Hi, Bella.
Hi. Is
Sam,
my,
I have the
Can you hear
funniest
me?
story for you.
Yes.
can you hear me? Because I don't know how this thing is working. I'm so technically challenged.
I
Yeah,
could,
Bella, I'm gonna mute you for a moment because we're getting a lot of feedback from you. Now it's gone. So
Yeah.
just hold on, Bella. If you want to talk, just raise your hand. I'll get to you.
Sam, I have an amazing story for you. I sat next to your, I believe, is Brian your son?
Yes.
Right. I sat next to him at Mariah. He was there one time. And I said, "Oh, I know you. You're Sam." And he said, "No, I'm Brian." And I said, "Brian, I knew somebody named Sam who looks exactly like you." And he said, "Sam is my father."
Father.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
so funny. And I thought, the years have passed and I've completely.
I'm a
What
lot
do you
thinner
think
than my
again,
son.
dear?
Yeah. Well, he does look like me a little bit.
Exactly. I recognized him immediately.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think you look alike, Sam?
Not
Like
really.
Brian? I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen him.
Well, I can tell
It
you for
obviously
sure
has.
because that
Right?
happened. So,
Recognized it. Isn't that crazy?
yeah.
Lillian Stern.
Hi, Lillian.
This is a problem because on my phone I can't see people.
Really?
I can on the
And
computer. But
Mrs. Brilliant?
Hi, Hannah Burley and Cooksey.
Hi,
How are
Hannah.
you?
oh my
Look,
goodness!
see. Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Just a few
Wow.
years.
We're going to get a lot of that, oh, wow, over the course of the
Wow. Look at that Ida crown, boy. You are really.
How did you do that?
It's
did it all.
called the virtual background. Hey, Lou.
Oh,
that's
you were able to
Welcome
do it.
back.
That's
Hi, Lou.
Everybody's coming
Thank you.
on.
Wow,
Here we
wow.
go.
Says
Hi.
Bension. That's my husband. I'm sorry.
Hi, Donnie.
Hi, Zahava. How are
Hi,
you?
Gloria.
Maybe it can go like this.
Zahava.
Here's
Whoa.
Zahava.
Gene.
you. Hi,
Eugene.
sweetheart.
How are you?
Eugene, where is he? Oh, he's down there. Oh, hi, Eugene. It's been a long time.
Oh, hi, Don. Wow.
Donnie. Donnie,
We're
how
gonna
are
have
you?
we're gonna have time for everybody to introduce themselves and chat. I'm
So
waiting
exciting.
for Naomi. Hi.
Oh my goodness, Naomi. Wow, you're gone.
That's all right. She'll come back.
Oh, there you are.
Gloria.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't this something?
It is.
Hi, Lillian. How's Howard? I see him in the background. Hi, Howard.
Oh, Howard. Hi, Howard.
Oh my God, Don.
And
Oh,
Okay,
there
we've
you
only-
are. Hi, Lou.
We've got here. I'm gonna mute everybody for a moment. I'm going to mute everybody for just a moment, and just to say welcome. I was hoping this would work out this way and that we'd get a number of people. I expect about double the number we have, and hopefully they'll come on quickly. Now, Bella, I see you on here twice, right? Wait, just let me undo your mute. Can you unmute yourself? Yeah, see, you have a problem with feedback. So I need you to keep that mute on. Okay, so we'll get started. I want to welcome you all to this. Oh, wow, that's a lot of feedback. Let's see, if I mute everybody, we'll get rid of the feedback. And does everybody, oh, thank you, Elliot. Does everybody know how to unmute your microphone? If you don't, if you look at the very bottom left-hand corner of your screen, there's a little microphone. Can everybody find it?
Yep, got it.
Okay, so if you want to mute yourself or unmute yourself, that's the button to push. So right now, could you all unmute yourselves, please? Okay, Bella,
Yeah.
mute yourself. I think yours is the Bluma. Welcome.
Luma.
Oh, there's Rabbi Friedman.
Wow.
Hi, Rebbe Brum. Welcome.
How are
Hey,
you?
Nick.
Aaron,
How
hi.
are you?
Hi, Gloria.
Hey, Gloria.
Lillian.
I sent to you.
Gloria,
Who's saying that?
it's Lillian.
Naomi, how are you?
Lillian? I don't see Lillian.
Oh, I'm up here somewhere.
Naomi.
Oh, hi. Hi, Lillian.
Gloria, how are you
Yeah, I know.
doing?
Okay, how are you doing?
Different.
Hey, my granddaughter is supposed to come to Israel in the
Hey, Nikki. Elliot, Kate, and I
Tell her
haven't
to
seen
come
him
and
in
visit.
55 years.
Bella, open your microphone.
Oh my God. Hello, Gail.
Okay, Bella.
Hello, who's saying hello?
Bella, your
Hello.
Bella,
microphone.
the problem
Oh,
with
hi,
Bella
Gail.
is you're on
Hi,
twice.
Esther. Hi,
Gail,
Lillian.
hi.
my
Hi,
God.
Gail.
Sharon, Sharon, fine.
Bluma.
Sharon is
Hello,
okay.
Nice to
Bluma.
see you again.
Hey, Rabbi Friedman.
Rabbi
How are you?
Friedman.
How are
My
you?
my son.
Rabbi Friedman's the one guy I've seen quite often.
Cooksey.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
Oh, my.
Minda, I don't see you.
How are
You're
you? How are you, Donnie? How are you doing? How are you doing?
This
Baruch
is
Hashem.
I get your emails all the time about the
Minda.
yeshiva.
Oh, we're raising money.
Everybody's trying.
Yes. Who's talking to me?
I am Judy.
Rabbi
Okay.
Friedman.
Hello, Minda. Where do you live now?
Judy, I see. Judy, I see.
Hello,
Okay,
Rabbi
guys.
Sharon, fine. Sharon Hazelcorn. I haven't seen you in 55 years.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Sharon.
Hello.
Sharon, where are you? There you are.
Haven't seen
Sharon,
her. I know
I've
that.
made
I
you
saw
the
that, Sharon.
host.
Oh, you did. Okay.
I'm trying to see if anybody looks
Sharon.
Sharon
Whoa.
looks good.
different.
Everybody
Where
looks
is
the same.
Sharon?
The dads look the
So,
same.
Oh, wow.
ladies
I
and
think Kate
gentlemen,
was
if
an
I could have
outsider.
your attention for just
You
a
want me
minute.
to? Oh, I know how to do
Thing-
that.
The first thing I want to do.
Judy.
Gosh, you're just as unruly as you were 55
Nothing
years
has
ago.
changed.
More.
I think,
have to
Sam,
mute
you have to give
Albert, maybe Albert
everybody
Milstein.
3 minutes of
Probably Albert.
screaming time.
What happened, Sam?
Sharon,
Sam, I don't see myself as host.
um,
No, he said not.
Look
me.
again, because it looks like Lillian.
I'll do it.
Lillian
Lillian's host. Lillian is host.
looks like you made
outsider.
Lillian
no,
host.
Pinsker brilliant.
If you change me to host, I'll make everyone be quiet.
I don't want to be quiet.
Just
change.
Finish doing it, dear. How are you,
Okay.
Judy?
let me, if I could, please. We
Oh,
have
actually-
24 people, and that's the amount I expected.
I
I
love
want to
that.
start with Richie Rebbe Vrum, who is the HTC
Okay.
Rosh Hashiva, to give us all a bracha. I know it's during the 9 days, but we need a bracha.
Are we
We
good
always
now?
need a bracha. We always need a bracha. And it's amazing. Many of these people I haven't seen in 55 years. And Baruch Hashem, they look younger than they did, 55 years ago.
Sure.
If
Okay,
you
so
believe
now,
that one.
yeah, so now we have to get the 120. I think we got 48 years to go. So I'm going to give everybody a brocha, as I say, bis 120. And Mirza Hashem will be meeting, this is only 55th, year after our graduation. So we should be meeting maybe another 48 years, something like that. So we'll be meeting again. And hopefully we won't have to do it in Zoom. We'll be meeting by the Kosham Arabi. And we'll be all getting together, dancing over there.
Amen.
Amen. Can I do it again? Take away.
Let me
Can Lillian,
start
I
the
think-
meeting
Take
this
away,
way.
Can I take away
If
Berlin?
everybody could be quiet, I would appreciate it. I want to welcome you all to this really amazing thing that I've been thinking about for the past 5 years. And because we're all at home anyhow, I thought this would be a nice way to spend a little time. I see my good neighbor, Diane Fishman-Kirschenbaum, is with us. We live just a few seconds. I want to start by
Sam,
giving
can I
everybody...
interrupt you for a minute? And I just
No.
want to say thank you to you for all that you have done to put this together.
Oh,
You
you're
deserve
welcome.
a big yasher koach.
It's my
Okay.
pleasure.
You're
Now,
on.
I want to start by giving everybody the opportunity, you don't have to say a word if you don't want to answer one question and then speak. The first question is, does anybody object to having their email shared with the rest of us?
No.
No.
Good.
No.
If you do, just let me know. I want to start with Judy Milstein, because
Okay.
she was the first one on here.
Nikki
Take
Quinn.
60 or 70 seconds and answer this question. What you been doing for 55 years?
Oh my God. I said, I think what a lot of everybody has been doing. I worked for 4 years, got Albert through law school, and then he's taken over since then. So that worked fine.
Who's talking?
Judy
And
Novick.
where do you
Judy
live?
Novick Milstein. We live in Chicago.
Oh,
And
Judy Novick.
You
Oh,
have to say
hi.
the names, the last names. That's what Pinsker, they know. They
I'm
know.
ashamed to say that I don't know some of the people. Wow.
yeah.
Okay,
Yep,
so
yep,
just as a general rule, I just want to interrupt for a second. If everybody talks at the same time, nobody can understand anything. So Judy, if you want to finish up, how many children, how many
So we
grandchildren?
have 3 kids, and I don't know what we did, but they're all in New York. Nobody's in Chicago at all, except for Albert and me. And all the kids and all the grandkids are here. And usually we come back and forth a lot because of this. I came yesterday for the first time after 3 months, which for me is a long time. But it's wonderful. Their kids are all happy, so I can't complain about that. But I did say, can't you be happy in Chicago? And I guess the answer was no. So that's it. Albert's would like to retire at some point, and that's our story. No complaints, thank God.
Baruch Hashem. Let's
You
go to
got it.
Elliot. Elliot, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm unmuted now.
Good.
I live in New York. We're married 44 years, Phyllis and I. Be'ezrat Hashem, it's coming up. And I'm an organic chemist. I went to University of Illinois, Chicago. And I worked for Givaudan, which is a flavor fragrance company, for 26 years. I worked for Bristol Myers Squibb for a while and for Pfizer. Now I have transitioned. Now I'm a teacher. I'm a lab supervisor at St. John's, and I also teach at Queens College.
Busy man.
By the way, before we finish today, I'm going to show you the results of the survey that most of you filled out. It's very illuminating, and I'll save it for later. Thanks, Elliot. Bella, can you unmute yourself? Go ahead. Boy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sam?
I'm on twice because when I went on my computer, there was no sound at all.
So
So I
turn off the phone. Hang up the phone part because we're getting double audio.
So now
And-
I'm on my iPad, and on my iPad, I don't know, so that's why I'm on twice.
Yeah, but your iPad's working fine, so turn off the phone. One of them, I don't care which.
Okay.
And while you're figuring it out, we'll come right back to you. Mute yourself. And Esther, nice to see you, Esther.
It's wonderful to see everybody. It's so neat. Judy, I just have to say, I just made myself some tuna fish before I got on. Do you know that when I went to your house, your mother served us tuna fish for lunch? It was the first tuna fish I ever ate. And I always remembered how much I loved that. Your mother served us wonderful food when we were young in those days.
That is funny. Yeah, we used to come over.
So Esther, tell us your story.
Yes, my story. Okay, so also we've been married 42 years, I guess. My husband is a psychologist in Chicago. I live in Chicago, and I've been in Jewish education for 120 years. I probably am the least likely person in the class to have gone into Jewish education, but I did. And I was the principal of Hebrew schools for many, many years, and I still teach. And I have 2 sons and 4 grandchildren, and it's so good to see everyone.
Thank you.
Cool.
Bella, shall we come back to you? I guess not. We'll figure that out. Everybody's going to get a chance. Lillian, so nice to see you.
Hey, nice to see you too. I don't know how you managed to find everybody's email. It's amazing. Am I on
Impressive.
So what you been doing for 55 years?
So, well, after high school, I went to college and graduated, and then I got married. And since I really liked my name, Stern, I decided I'd marry someone with the same name. So I married Stern.
Cool.
And so that's the only name I've had. We've been married, this October, we've been married 52 years.
Wow.
Wow.
And I have 3 children. One lives in New Jersey. 2 of them live here in Chicago within walking distance. And I have, thank God, 16 grandchildren.
Ooh.
And 12 of them live here within walking distance. So
Wow.
even with the pandemic, we go back and forth and see and visit with them outside. My grandchildren range in age between 20 years and 18 months. So
Wow.
That's wonderful.
It's so nice to see you.
Lillian,
I
is
was
it,
a high school English teacher, and then I did a lot of subbing, and I was actually subbing until this whole thing happened. And then about a week before they closed the schools, I said, I think I've had enough of this.
that was wise.
I'm not getting tired of the virus. So now I'm really officially retired from subbing and
For
from
you.
teaching.
Okay, we're going to try Bella again.
Wait, I'm sorry, Lillian, can you give the host back to Sam or give it to me? Either way, I don't care. Do you know how to do that? Do you know
How to give the host? No.
Can you go into the participant at the bottom of your screen? You see something that says participants?
Yeah, it says participants. And what do I do?
You just might have to hover over there. At the bottom of the screen, there should be something that says
Yeah,
participants.
I saw it says 24 participants.
Yeah,
What do I
click
do?
on it.
Click
on it.
Okay.
And then you'll see, you should see everybody's name.
Okay.
And if you see, Sam, should it go to me or to you? What do you prefer?
I'll take it.
Okay, so when you see Sam's name,
Click on it.
Here.
click on it.
Oh, what should I click? Okay. Click on Sam.
And then more.
Okay, Sam. Over there.
And then it says more.
More.
And then make me the host.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Are you
Good.
back?
Okay. I hope that worked. Bella, we're coming back to you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. I can't hear you that well. I don't know. My audio is not that great.
No, we got you. Keep going. What have you been doing?
Okay. So, you know that I got married right after high school. I've been living in New York for that time. I've been living in Brooklyn for 40 years. And up until 15 years ago, I moved to Bayswater in Park Rockaway, New York. As I have 2 daughters. As of 1989, I have been single. And I have 6 grandchildren, Bli Ayin Hara. I've worked for a number of Jewish organizations and companies. Among them was a Jewish press. I worked in the classified department. I worked at the American Office for Ben Gurion University in their fundraising department, executive assistant to the director of development. I worked at the Center for Jewish History, where I worked as Associate PR Director. And my last job before I retired was at the Orthodox Union, better known as the OU. So I have been busy. Since then, I now work for the Board of Elections of New York City as a poll worker. So that's, you know, seasonal whenever there's a primary or an election coming up soon. So I'm busy. And now, because I'm retired, I got involved in my genealogy. I'm trying to find my roots. So I'm busy with that.
It's nice.
Very nice to hear from you.
And I want to thank Sam. Thank you so much.
It's
I
okay.
want to thank you for putting this together.
My pleasure. Cooksey, how are you?
I'm good, Baruch Hashem. It's good to see all familiar faces.
Wow.
Some are familiar, some have changed a little bit. I haven't seen. I've been to Israel a few. I live in Silver Spring, Maryland, but I've been to Israel a few times, so I've seen some of you more recently. So it's good to see familiar faces. Sahaba, and Nikki, and Donnie. I don't see Mike Flanzer, but good to see you all. I got married, moved from Chicago to New York, and from New York I moved down to Silver Spring, Maryland. I live here. My husband worked for the government for many years, and I was teaching in Hebrew school and English, different schools all over. And we, thank God, have 4 children. They're all married. My son got married during COVID, my last one, my baby. So one of these backyard weddings, and you know, not quite what we expected, but he's married.
Great.
Thank God for that. And we have 12 grandchildren, and Baruch Hashem, we're all doing well, and it's good to see everybody.
Marvelous. Good to see you. And now the only other officer of our class who made this call. By the way, if anybody knows where I can find Jerry Epstein, please let me know. Is Lou Weisbach. Hey, Lou. Lou, you're muted.
Where is he?
He's coming.
Is that better?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for putting this together. It's like delightful to see everybody. So much fun. I have to excuse myself because I'm in the middle of a COVID task force and I have to get on a call in 15 minutes, but I'm so excited to see you all. I've got a wonderful wife, have 4 children, 5 grandchildren. I've lived in Chicago ever since we all hung out together, and still live. All of our kids, thank God, and grandchildren live in Chicago as well. So we're lucky in that regard.
Wow.
My career has been like a roadmap, very actively involved in national politics and healthcare. I started a company called Halo that was a fun ride for 27 years, and ran a company for Morgan Stanley that financed sports stadiums and a bunch of other stuff that gets kind of boring. But very, very, very thankful for the opportunities I've had, and very thankful to have started out with all of you and always have the fondest memories of all of our time together, including basketball games, by the way. So glad to be part of this.
Thanks, Lou. Okay, that brings us to the other starting guard on the basketball team is Donnie Cates.
Wow.
Hey, hi, everybody. Am I unmuted?
Wow.
No, you're good. Yeah.
Okay.
Donnie.
Well, we're in Israel 33 years. We're married 43 years. I've been working in Jewish Commonwealth Service pretty much all that time. I drifted into public relations and development, and I'm currently the director of development for Yeshivat HaKotel in Yerushalayim, the old city. And we live in Ra'anana. We have 5 children. I have 4 in Israel. One is in Charlotte, North Carolina. He went to do his MBA there, and he's hopefully coming back in a year. We have 21 grandchildren, Baruch Hashem. And I'm also, besides all my work, I'm also the one man on a shotgun committee. So I've been a shotgun. For those of you who have people in Israel, especially grandchildren or somebody, I'm happy to, do what I can. So not as a volunteer, of course. So that's kind of interesting how I fell into that. But I had some success, and and kind of enjoy that. And Sam and I were actually, I think I was one of your first people that you bounced it all, the whole idea of this off. So color kavod. We had the one where, I don't know if everybody knows the history. We had one where we had the 7 guys that were in, I think 5 out of 7 showed up. We're in the Gemara Shir with Rabbi Sachs, Olav Shalom. We used to call ourselves the Magnificent Seven. And when the Sam brought up the idea of let's try to get as many people we can from the class, and I thought it was a little nuts, but he did it. So color kavod. Good for you.
Thanks, Donnie. And that brings us to Jean Levy. The last time, Jean, I heard you were in New Orleans, right?
Hey,
Well,
Eugene.
Not quite. Right now I'm in Chicago.
Oh.
Enjoying the pleasant weather.
So tell us your story.
Well, after I graduated college, I had a little problem with the SSS, draft board. So I had to work through that. And then I went to Minneapolis and worked a bit there. And I had a friend who lived in California, and he says, in California, there's gold in the streets. So I went to California to live, and I found better than gold. Found a wife and eventually 3 children in California. I operated a kosher bakery in Oakland for a long time, sold it, and then came back to Chicago. I had an ailing mother and family events, so I had to do that. And in my last career, I became a teacher at Chicago Public Schools, of which now I am retired. So here I am. We have 3 kids, none of whom live in Chicago, and 4.5 grandchildren.
Oh,
one is coming later.
Gene, I have to say, to quote Billy Crystal, you look marvelous.
Do what I can.
Great to see you. And that brings
us...
You too.
And again, thanks, Sam. This
You're
was
welcome. Zahava.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So hi, everybody.
Hi.
I only was at the Academy for the last 2 years. So I'm sitting here with my memoirs of 1965 to make sure that I recognize who everybody was those years ago. But I know most of you, and it's nice to see you all. After high school, I went on Hachshara B'nai Akiva. I told all my relatives that I promised to be back within 5 years. I kept my promise. I got married, and as soon as my husband got his degrees, we came to Israel. He came back, and I came to Israel. We raised 4 children here. We didn't have such an easy time with that. The first 3 were adopted. We have 20 grandchildren, thank God. I spent my years being a mother and also being an English teacher in various formats, high school, university, private teaching. And now I think I'm retired. Since the corona, I haven't taught, let's say.
Well, Zahava, I want to give you your props right now until we finish this. You are the champion of grandchildren. You beat out Don Cates by 4.
No, I have who? Wait, I have 21.
Oh, you have 21. I'm sorry, you're in second place. I beg your pardon. So nice to see you.
16.
Well, I'm going to show after Naomi, actually after Leon Well, I'm going to show you the results of the survey, which are very interesting too. But next we come to Naomi Finkelstein-May. Hi, Naomi.
Oh, wow.
You're muted. Unmute yourself, honey.
How's that?
Beautiful. Good.
Oh, wow. Hi, Naomi.
We made Aliyah 5.5 years ago. We now live in Efrat. And so here I am bringing you brachot from Eretz Yisrael. And it's a pleasure to do that. We lived before that in Atlanta, Georgia. We lived there for 45 years in Atlanta. and raised our family and built a home and participated in all sorts of things in the community. But when I heard about this event, and Sam asked, I think in one of his emails, you know, what are some memories that you had? And truthfully, I wanted to say, most of my wonderful memories didn't happen in the classroom. They did not. But they did happen, and they happened in homes of people that if I may, I'd like to thank them because they changed my life and gave me, and I think made me what we are today. I see Judy here, and I want to thank Judy and Rabbi and Mrs. Novak. These were places that opened up their hearts to me. And
we loved it.
And open up their homes to me. I see Minda here. What would I have done without Mr. and Mrs. Wolf and opened up their homes? Really, what would I do? And I think I don't see Rosalind Goldberg here, but I spent many a Shabbos afternoon in their home. I don't see Reva Levitansky, but Rabbi and Mrs. Levitansky made my Shabbatot afternoon very special, and I wanted to thank them. I was hoping to see Laurel. Laurel's grandfather took me to school every day, and how much I appreciated that. And
so I will answer for Laurel. Laurel and I have kept in touch all these years, and she can't be here because she fell and broke her shoulder a week ago.
Oh, no.
So we can wish her.
Be sure and give her my love and tell her that I have wonderful memories. So I thank all those people and all my friends, and you should just all be well and come visit us in Efrat. We're here all the time, and we'd love to have you. So
Naomi, your name is Naomi May, because I have a Machatanim in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm just wondering if they know you.
Who's that?
The Shears? The Shears? Did you ever know a family the Shears?
First of all, we know everybody in Atlanta. Second of all, yeah, sure, I know them. They're wonderful people.
Roberta and Alan. So your name is Naomi May. They'll know you by Naomi May?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll send regards.
You're looking great.
I'll tell them I saw you today.
Okay, good.
Okay, so I wanted to share my screen, but I'm having a little trouble doing that, so we'll do that another time. Leon Well from New York, right?
Yeah, I'm calling you from my office in 47th Street, and it's a pleasure to be with you. I just don't understand why you scheduled this during the 9 days when everybody looks unshaven and like not the way we should.
Leon, let me answer that. At our age, you don't want to wait.
Okay. That doesn't explain why you didn't do it a year ago. Anyway,
Leon, Leon, it's a very in look these days.
Yeah, you look cool.
Thank you very much. Anyway, after high school, I continued on to the yeshiva, graduated Roosevelt University, received smicha from the HTC. Being a protege of Rabbi Eisenberg, I was hired as the youngest instructor ever in the Eidekon Jewish Academy to teach Limudei Kodesh, and that lasted exactly a year. And then I went into the diamond business. I've been in the diamond business for close to 50 years now. I got married in 1970. I have one beautiful daughter who living in Dallas. Her husband's a Rosh Yeshiva at the Texas Torah Institute. 8 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. And my second grandchild just got married a couple of weeks ago in the middle of COVID here in New York. It was a mixed outdoor-indoor kind of chasana in Kew Gardens. Baruch Hashem, we've been very happy. And we've been living in Kew Garden Hills since 1979. Wow. I left Chicago then and established myself here in business on 47th Street. And it's really great to visit with everybody and see some people that I for sure have not seen in many, many years.
Thank you, Leon. Lillian, could you do me a favor and go through that exercise of making me the host again, please?
All right, tell me
Click
what
on participants,
Yeah.
find my name.
Oh, wait a second. Here's participants. Yeah.
Click on my name, right? And then it says more, and it says make host.
Where do they, where it says more. All right,
Yeah.
let me click participants again. Okay, now I'll click on your name. And then click on
more.
More.
And make host.
Make host. Okay.
Good, thank you. Appreciate that. Now we go to Gail Farr. Hi, Gail.
Oh my God.
Wait, okay, just had to unmute myself. Hello, everybody. It really is so nice to see you.
Oh my
So
God.
many people that I haven't seen in so long. Esther and I have kept in touch forever. So, but so many others, and Nikki and I exchanged some correspondence when this first got started. However, I have to say, and I shared this with Nikki and with Esther also, that Sam did something like this quite a few years ago with an email type of situation. So fortunately, somehow I still had a lot of that correspondence. So I was able to go and remember, because I don't know if I could have remembered as much today as I did then about what the heck my life was like. But unlike it seems everybody else, no children, and I'm not married at this point either. I had a very brief marriage for about 3 years. And since that time, I've had a significant other for over 40 years, but no children, no grandchildren. And I'm glad everybody else has done their job with Brew or Voo, and thank you. So, but as a result, I have had a career. It started out with a very quick job with a company called Video Systems. I was involved with furniture and publicity and this and that. That was only for about a year because it was too much travel. So then I actually got hooked up with the phone company, which of course we knew would last forever. Ma Bell would last forever. And so we went through AT&T, and then we became Bell Communications Research, and then I moved to Lucent, and then that became Alcatel-Lucent, and then Nokia. So, and my job there was involved with instructional technology. So I worked with people who knew things like ISDN and DSL and all the rest of that. I still don't understand all of that, but I would help them with instructional technologies, you know, objectives and test writing and this and that. I lived in the city for most of my life, not on the north side, always kind of on the near Humboldt Park, actually. And then my mom moved to South Bend, may she rest in peace. And when she moved, I moved closer to work, which was 30 miles from where I was living. So then I moved out to the western suburbs, which we all know is a haven of Jewish people. Anyway, it was like, well, where are the Jewish people and how can I get involved? So there are a couple of synagogues, but I became associated with actually the Reform Synagogue and have done teaching there. So I've been involved with teaching 5th grade Hebrew and on the adult education committee. And it's been a very interesting experience, but at least I know I have my Jewishness somewhere that I can hold on to it. And other than that, so I live out in the western suburbs. I have a sister. She lives right now in Florida. She used to live in Pennsylvania. She's a nurse. She was a nurse midwife, but she also worked at Planned Parenthood, and she worked in prisons. She worked at the Graterford federal prison and stuff. So I've been kind of, she and I are very close. We're the only 2 siblings. And since my mom passed, her husband died the same year. And so she moved to Florida. She got rid of her little ranchette with 3 horses and 5 dogs and all the rest of it. And so I also, with my significant other, we have a place in Delray Beach. So I usually go to
you're
see
right
her.
near me.
Not too far, Sam, not too far. But, you know, with the COVID, no traveling. So I haven't not seen her for a while. But it is wonderful to see everybody and to know that hopefully everybody's doing well, you know, themselves, health-wise, and everything else.
Wonderful. So nice to hear from you. And now, Rabbi Friedman. Unmute yourself, Rebbe Avram. It's hard for me to get used to that.
Yeah.
Richie, unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself, Rabbi? Or do you need your wife to?
Okay,
There we go.
I'm good now. Okay, thank you. Okay, it's good to see everybody. Some of you I don't think I've seen in 55 years, and some I probably haven't seen in 57 years or 58 years because I left the academy. I left the academy actually in 1962. I went to the Yeshiva High School, I wouldn't have graduated if I would have stayed in the academy the whole time. I think I would have played basketball a little more, but I don't know if I would have graduated. But I left the academy, I think in 62. I went to the Yeshiva High School, and I see some of my friends from the Yeshiva High School. Of course, Leon Well is here with me. Maybe Elbert, I'm not sure if that's Elbert Milstein. I don't know if that's actually Elbert. And we were, Baruch Hashem, and I see some of the people from the South Side I recognize. Of course, Sharon Fine, Hazelcorn. I see Ellie Caton, also the South Sider. Of course, Donnie, I knew also was I remember we played ball together in the 9th grade in the baseball team. Of course, Louis Weisbach was also, I think with Louis Weisbach's bar mitzvah, now Louis Weisbach bar mitzvah, I met you, Sam. You were at the bar mitzvah. I remember going in that area. I think maybe it's your bar mitzvah, his bar mitzvah. That's when I met you.
I davened Musaf at his bar mitzvah.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. So the last couple of years, I'll tell you a little bit. I've been around a little bit. I went to Eretz Yisrael after high school. I graduated in Roosevelt, and then I went to Eretz Yisrael. I learned in yeshivas and in kollalim, and I married. My wife is an Israeli. She's from Petach Tikva, and her grandfather was the chief rabbi of Petach Tikva for many years. And I learned in the kollalim in Eretz Yisrael. And I came back to America and I started teaching in different places. I started a little bit in Boston. I taught for the Boston Rebbe and in Maimonides. Then I went to Los Angeles. I taught in Los Angeles, and it was Rambam, and then Eula when they opened up in Los Angeles. Then I went back to Eretz Yisrael. I taught in Keren B'Yavneh for 4 years. And after Keren B'Yavneh, I came to Chicago for 2 years, and I'm still here 38 years later. and I don't know when I'm going back. I always think I'm going back, but I haven't yet found the ways now in the COVID. It's kind of hard to get back. We're still trying. But anyway, and I have, Baruch Hashem, I have 5 children, all Baruch Hashem married. I have 25 grandchildren. I have 8 great-grandchildren.
The new champion.
The winner.
That's right. One granddaughter got married also COVID a few weeks ago. And we have, I think, maybe five are married. I think 5 grandchildren are married. 8 great-grandchildren, I said. Yeah, so Baruch Hashem, we have, we're here now in the New York area. We came here for that wedding. And we don't want to go home so fast. We'll probably have to go home because we both got to go to work a little bit. But in the summer, we're doing mostly Zoom. I've been Zooming for the last 3-4 months. My wife is Zooming to Hillel Torah. I'm Zooming to the HTC. And I wouldn't mind Zooming, from Eretz Yisrael. But in the meantime, I'm still here I'm in Muncie right now.
So you should put your Rebbitzin on for a second, because
Right
behind
here.
every great Rosh Yeshiva, there's a great Rebbitzin. Hello.
I'm anything but a Rebbitzin.
Hello, Tamar.
Hi, Tamar.
Shalom,
Hi,
Tamar.
everybody. Nice to meet some of the people that I've heard about only
Hi,
in stories.
Tamar.
Yes. So,
Thank you for joining us.
I have a zchut of being married to a great tzaddik, my husband. If we're married almost 50 years. In December will be 50 years.
Wow.
And I can certainly say that I could still say I'm married to a tzaddik. So who could beat me on that one?
You used to be a good shortstop as well.
The nicest, sweetest, most considerate husband. Baruch Hashem, we raised a beautiful family, and we are very embedded in the Jewish community in Chicago. My husband is standing at the helm of the yeshiva, and I am at the administration next door at Hillel Torah, which is a co-educational modern Orthodox school for the children of Chicago. And Baruch Hashem, we have a beautiful family, and we have a lot of nachat from our children, grandchildren, and now even our great-granddaughter is going into 1st grade. So that's
Tamar, I always knew that you were very shy. Thank you very much. But we're going to move on to Bluma. Bluma, unmute yourself. You're not unmuted yet. Keep trying. Bluma, I can't hear you. You need to unmute your microphone.
On the top.
It's still not working.
I was pushing the wrong button.
There you go. Hi, Bluma.
Hi, Bluma.
Hey, Bluma. I've been thinking a lot about our class, and I don't know if anybody remembers the typing teacher.
Oh, sure.
Oh.
Oh,
And he
yeah, sure,
was-
yeah.
and he said-
I failed typing.
It was during lunch. We heard
What is-
stomach
That's
growling.
right, during lunch.
Nikki and it's Sippy and there was a Nikki and there was
Right.
a Bluma, and he said, "What kind of names are there? Where's the Barbara and Susan?" So he obviously wasn't told where he was going when he took us on, and I remembered my typing. I went to New York right after graduation and took a special program at Columbia University, where I graduated with the Jewish Theological Seminary. And when I went to Israel in '67 and went to Hebrew University, I came back to the States just in time for August of '68. I came back here just in time for what was going on in Chicago. I made a decision then that I would, if I wasn't going to make Aliyah, that I would work in the Jewish community and that I would work for Israel. And that's really what I've done, both professionally and as a volunteer. The greatest joy I've had professionally was I was a study abroad director for 12 years at Tel Aviv University.
Oh.
I worked in the States, I did all their promotion,
Wow.
I did all their working. Anybody called and said Shabbaton, sabbatical, I was in charge to accept or reject students who wanted to go for whatever program they want, the Americans who wanted to go to Israel. And that was great. And when I finished that job, I went to Boston and became a full-time Jewish volunteer, both at the Federation. I was chairman of Otzma. I don't know if anybody knows that. It's a project with the Federation. Very involved in social justice, and the JCRC setup in Boston is a lot different, and became very involved in social justice and racial equity. I was in Boston most of the time, in New Hampshire, and I came back to Chicago for family reasons exactly 10 years ago. Since I came back at just the right age to come back and look for a job, I have been working and tutoring privately adults who want to learn Hebrew, either reading or comprehension, at Beth Emet Synagogue in Evanston. And I am a member there, and I'm very connected to the Reform movement now. I have to say to Leon Well that a special thing to him, because his father, Zichrono Livracha, was my father's best friend. And I did such terrible things to Rabbi Well at Aryeh Crown East School, including making him a toupee where we all cut our hair and put it in a ribbon. I never thought of myself as a rabble rouser, but people kind of tell me that I go to my own beat and my own drummer. I do not have children, but I have a grandchild who lives in Rochester, and it's very interesting to come back. And I bumped into Louis. We call him Louis, and Sam at one point, and said, "Where is everybody? I've been here 10 years. I haven't seen anybody. I live in Rogers Park." So this is very interesting, and I hope that, Sam, that you'll put out a questionnaire where we all live, because that would be helpful.
Yeah.
You're forgiven.
Okay, Bluma, it's so nice to see. I have to say, Bluma, when I look at you right now and I see your curly white hair, it reminds me of the incredible hair you had in high school. You had the greatest hair of all time.
Yeah. My mother is smiling in heaven for your saying that.
All right. It's good to see you.
Next,
I've had the pleasure of talking to Sharon Fine Hasselcorn for the last week or so. And so, Sharon, up to you.
Okay. Yeah, I have to say, this is really thrilling. I wasn't sure how thrilling it would be, but it's unbelievable. So thank you all. Thanks, Sam, to you, and thank you all for showing up. I just can't wait to tell my mom, Richie, that I've seen you today.
How's she doing? How's your mom doing?
Happy. She's very well, thank you. Yeah, she
Baruch
lives
Hashem.
in Hollywood, Florida, and you're one of my sisters. So
She does?
yeah.
Where?
Yeah, she does. She lives in Hollywood, Florida. And you're
By the
my
way, I heard from your sister.
Oh,
She
you did?
remembers meeting me. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So tell us what you've been doing for 55 years.
So, well, so I stayed in Chicago at the University of Chicago. I majored in psych because it had the fewest prerequisites and I could take the widest array of courses. Then I went to Harvard to the Graduate School of Education. My parents were big into education, and actually me and all of my sisters have some connection to education. I graduated in the Department of Human Development, and it was in the 80s when my dissertation was on first language acquisition. And it was just at the time when whole language took off as a way of teaching reading and writing. So I became a consultant, of course, and I worked a lot in the Boston public schools, also with some local day schools. Did a lot of volunteer work at my kids went to a Solomon Schechter School for elementary school, then to Maimonides, although my daughter was in the first class of what is now Gann Jewish Academy, which was very exciting. And then I worked for the Partnership for Excellence in Jewish Education. So some of you who are in Jewish education might have heard of that. We worked with Jewish day schools all across North America, helping them to learn better how to raise money, recruit students, run their boards. And, oh, hi. And when PEAGE kind of merged with other organizations to become Prisma, I retired from that. And I now, I sort of combine study. I'm doing Daf Yomi for the first time, which is very exciting.
Wow.
And also mediating in the court. So I trained as a mediator, and that's been very rewarding. I realized that a lot of my work at PEAGE was negotiating among various parties, funders, schools, individual teachers, and PEAGE itself as an intermediary. So I put some of that to work, and that's great. I have 3 kids. One lives in New Jersey, one in Philly, one near me in Brighton, Massachusetts. I live outside of Boston. I have 8 grandchildren, Kanainahara. The youngest one was born right at the beginning of COVID, which was quite an ordeal. I know some of you share that experience, I'm sure. And I've been in the same house. My husband and I will be married 50 years in September, but we've lived in the same house since just before I had my first child. So it's been great.
It's great to see you, Sharon.
It's great to be here. Thanks.
And next we go to Judy Manila Love.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Or see me?
Yeah.
Judy, you look great. Thank you. Who are you? I can't tell.
Diane.
Diane. So anyhow, I've been married 3 times, and Baruch Hashem, today I have 6 grandchildren in Queens and 6 great-grandchildren in Israel. Wow. I've also had a wonderful job. I used to work for Peter L. Malkin, who owns the Empire State Building. And through him, I met Peter Z. Malkin, who captured Adolf Eichmann. And Donald Trump used to call us before he became president, because Mr. Malkin and Mr. Trump both in real estate. But best of all, through all these years, I've been in close touch with Lillian Stern, who I consider one of my best friends. Thank God. I'm so happy that I lived in America through all these really good years. God knows what the future is, but thankful for the past. And that's me, short and sweet.
Wonderful, wonderful. So before we go on to Minda, who's next, I thought I'd interject myself at this point, if everybody doesn't mind. I finished the academy, as we all did, and got accepted to the Circle as the last person to be accepted into the entrance class of the Circle in 1965, the last one. I was admitted on the day classes started. I figured I'd better do something different than I did in high school, so I buckled down, and I did college in just under 3 years. I graduated as a James Scholar, and I got accepted to the University of Illinois Medical School. did that in 4 years and did my residency and chief residency at Evanston Hospital and became part of the Northwestern Medical School system. I got married to Rosalind Goldberg, who I thought was going to be here today, but maybe not, in my 3rd year of medical school, and God blessed us with 3 sons. I am remarried now to my lovely wife, Judy, who is a Florida girl, and we live in Hollywood, Florida, as does Sharon's sister. I practiced medicine for a long time. Had a large group in Evanston, Glenview, Skokie, whole bunch of doctors, whole bunch of offices, did nicely, and retired. Now, this is my 5th retirement. I have dedicated myself for the last 8 or 9 years to being an advocate for the elderly who are caught up in guardianships. And I run a 501c3. And last year, I don't know if you can see this, but last year I published my book, which is called Guardianships in the Elderly, The Perfect Crime. I encourage you to read it if you haven't. We help people stuck in abusive guardianships around the country. I have 3 boys. My wife, Judy, has 1 daughter. We have a total of 11 grandchildren. Judy's daughter lives near us here. My son lives a few minutes away, and I have 2 boys with their families, 1 in Skokie, 1 in Deerfield. And as far as why I wanted to do this, people have asked, it's because I'm curious. I wanted to see and talk to these folks that I haven't seen in forever. And if I can, I want to show you the results when we're done with all the interviews. If I can bring it up on my screen, the results of our survey. And if in case I can't, I just want to tell you that the one thing that comes through is the Academy may not have prepared us for life. Maybe not, who knows? It's a third, a third, a third. Yes, no, maybe. That's the way the survey came out. But what it did do is prepare us to be Jews and Zionists. Everybody considers Israel to be either extremely important or existential to their existence. And that was very nice to see. There's a tremendous loyalty to lighting Shabbat candles. And almost everybody makes going to shul part of their routine, whether it's once a week or 3 times a day. Almost all of us have really made that important. And I'm really sorry Lori Matlin Canham, as I said, she broke her shoulder, and she told me, she says, I'm on too many pain pills to make sense. So, but I'll send her your wishes. And that brings us to Minda Wolfgar. Minda, unmute yourself, please. There you go.
This, as a friend of mine in Oklahoma says, it's a hoot. It is really a lot of fun seeing everybody and hearing. So for the last 55 years, I spent 47 of them in Israel. Like Bluma and Grace, I came in 67 on the 1-year program. I was the kid who didn't go home, and I graduated from the School of Social Work at Hebrew U, where eventually that became my place of employment until I retired, and I still teach there. And have 4 kids, 4 gorgeous kids, and 7 grandchildren. Our youngest grandchild also was born at the height of the COVID, and not a fun story, like Sharon says. Have lots of memories coming up as I'm, listening to everybody. Zahava, I don't know if you remember.
I sure do.
It's like one of my best memories. My daughter was in high school. She's now 42, so it gives you a sense of how long.
Wow, it was just yesterday.
Just yesterday. And she would complain bitterly about her teacher, Zahava, and her English teacher, Zahava. And I go to a teacher's meeting, I sit down, the teacher walks in, and I go, Gloria? And I have no recall of names, and it just came out of me. And Gloria, Zahava looks at me and goes, Minda? So it was, it's like what comes around goes around. That Michal, by the way, works in high tech very successfully today.
Nice.
And uses English all the time.
Terrific.
And Sharon was married a year before we were married. And we eat artichokes on a regular basis. And we always say when somebody is in our house and doesn't know what an artichoke is or how to eat it, we learned this from the hazel cords. So there are lots of, connections. Grace, I've had the joy of seeing all the years. She used to live around the corner from my in-laws, and we got to LA. And Naomi, the biggest excitement was when she moved to Israel, practically down the block. That's the feeling anyway. We live in Yerushalayim. But it's been a good, of the 47 years we've lived here in Israel, we spent 35 going summers to Camp Ramah, working in camp in Jewish education. Social work education during the year, Jewish education in the summer. But it has been, we've really watched and experienced, as the others of you who live here, Israel grow up. And it's still a teenager in many ways, this country, this little country of ours. But
So are we.
Right.
Yeah. Wishful thinking.
Minda, I want to interrupt you for just a second. Ray Lavin, pull over. I don't want you to die doing this. Ray is driving in his car while he's doing this.
Oh,
Minda, go ahead.
No, so I was just saying, the most significant of the many, many significant things that have happened, over the years since we've graduated, I think is that not only did we make Aliyah, but my sister Zichrona Levracha, my brother made Aliyah, and my parents made Aliyah. And so unlike many people who make Aliyah from the States, our children grew up with grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins.
Wow.
And
Nice.
it's really been a joyful
That's a blessing.
It really is. It really is.
Where in Israel are you, Minda?
In Yerushalayim.
In Yerushalayim.
And discovered not far from Nikki, which I had no idea. So
Wonderful. So nice to hear your voice. And that brings us to Aileen Schlesinger-Yolkut. Hi, Aileen.
Hey. Thanks for introducing me with my last name, because I'm not sure everyone would have recognized it. This is really very, very special. And one of the things that has struck me in listening to everyone's bio is that it seems like almost everyone has some involvement and engagement in the Jewish community. Whether it's in Jewish education, from all the way from being a Rosh Yeshiva to teaching in Hebrew schools, that's quite an achievement for the Academy. And I'm truly impressed with the variety and scope of the accomplishments of my classmates. So I didn't actually graduate with all of you officially. I was at the ceremony in the audience, and that's because I left the Academy a year early and started college. But I made up that year because at the very beginning of my work career, I came back and taught at the Academy. I taught English for a year, and then went on to, after I did my graduate work, finished my graduate work, I taught at a community college in Chicago, during which time I met my husband, who was a rabbi on the South Side at the time. Those of you who are South Siders will remember Anshe Knesset Israel. So my late husband was the rabbi there. And so I became a Rebbitzin, knowing full well what I was getting into.
Aileen, if I can interrupt you 1 second. Ray Lavin, you're going to be up next. Don't drive anymore. Okay, Aileen, you're back.
Ray, I'll give you a little time to pull over. So from Chicago, my husband took a position in Detroit. So that meant I went to Detroit and left my Chicago family and contemporaries behind. And so I haven't been in touch with most of you for close to 55 years, at least a half a century.
Oh God, that hurts.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sounds like a lot.
And I taught and raised two sons. One is now a rabbi in Pittsburgh, and the other is an attorney and lives in Teaneck. And they have blessed me with 10 grandchildren.
Oh, nice.
Unfortunately, those grandchildren lost their grandfather in 2013. And that's been painful, but life goes on. We moved on from Detroit to Philadelphia, and I've spent the last quarter century in Philadelphia working as a test developer at Educational Testing Service. I developed English language tests and came down to Boca this winter. I purchased a place last year and in Century Village, and I'm still here. I came down in January. I'd asked to take some time off from work, and they said, no, you can work remotely. So I started out working remotely, and then COVID hit. So I stayed on, and I stayed on long enough until they offered me a retirement package.
Oh,
So I am now, as of a month ago, retired.
Congratulations.
And
enjoy your first retirement. Aileen, I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to save a life here. Ray Levin, can you hear me?
Sure.
Ray Levin, come in. Earth to Ray Levin. He's not paying attention. That's too bad. Okay, well then, Aileen, go ahead. Finish.
I've pretty much come to the end.
Okay.
Not the end of my life, but
All right.
the end of my...
Well, then on that positive note, we're going to go to my neighbor, Diane Kirschenbaum, Diane Fishman Kirschenbaum. Unmute yourself, my dear.
How to do that.
There, you just did.
Okay.
Hey, girl.
Hello. It's me. Hi, Judy. Okay. 55 years. You think I can remember? Okay. I went to New York and met my husband and taught school in New York and then brought him back to Chicago. And we raised 4 children, 3 girls and a boy. My children decided that Chicago wasn't for them. So I now have 2 daughters in Toronto, a son in Renana, and a daughter in New York. And we haven't seen our grandchildren since January. We have 14 grandchildren, and we are down here in Hollywood, Florida, not far from Sam. We were here first, as long as our kids moved out of Chicago, and I cried when I sold the house in Lincolnwood. I hope that at least in Florida, the kids would come and visit, which they do, except since January. And we're both retired, and we're both sitting in the house and haven't left the house since March. And
I can attest to that. We do a wellness visit with them every Shabbos.
Sam does knock on our door periodically on Shabbos just to see that we're still alive and breathing. And we talk to him. We stand on the porch, and he stands in the walkway with his wife, Judy, and sometimes their dog. And we chat, and that's it as far as our human contact. So it's been trying for us. We have our bar mitzvah coming up and an engagement coming up in Toronto that's not going to happen. And January 17th, we have our first grandchild getting married in Toronto. I don't know if we're going to get on a plane. Judy, you are very brave getting on a plane.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, no.
Took 6
Barry
months, but okay.
Barry is not happy. So we will see. And thank goodness for Skype, and thank goodness for Zoom and iPads and phone calls. And we keep in touch with the kids, but it's difficult. My son in Renana is, it's very difficult. not talking, not being with the kids and the grandkids.
Yeah, but the truth is, you and your husband are doing just fine. I can attest.
Yeah.
I'm a witness.
Yes. Yes.
And
as
that
long as-
brings us to Grace Cohn Grossman. Hi, Grace.
Wow.
Got to unmute yourself.
Dolly.
There you go.
Where's
Anyway,
Grace?
Here
Hello,
we go.
Grace.
Hi, Grace.
Actually,
Wow.
I have sad news, which is that we lost one of our sons to COVID in May.
Oh, gee.
And so the people who we were on the call with last time know that it's very hard, and it was a very shocking experience. So that sort of overshadows everything.
Anything.
For sure.
But moving along, trying to be inspired by him.
I hear
And
you.
we have another son and 3 grandchildren, and we live nearby them. So at least I can social distance visit with my grandchildren about twice a week or so, which is good. I have been married to Ira for 50 years, and he's an architect, retired. And I am still working as a Jewish museum curator, although now for the past 6 years, we moved from LA to Washington, DC area in 2012. Now I work at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum as an acquisitions curator.
Grace, do you know Celeste Mayer?
Yes, sure.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good
So
friend
she's
of mine.
She's in development, and
Right.
we actually, I used to see her on the Metro a lot. Now none of us we're all teleworking.
Mhm.
But anyway, so what as I explained in our last call, we're fewer.
Grace, can you speak up? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
1 second. If I can find my microphone, I will.
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay, now can you hear me better? Is that
Not
better?
About the same.
Not better. Okay, well, I'll try to talk louder. Anyway.
The microphone closer to your mouth.
Okay, well, here we go.
There you go.
How's that?
Yes,
Okay.
much
Anyway,
better.
all right. So in any event, I work as an acquisitions curator at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. So I work focus on Americans in the Holocaust. So it's a lot about rescuers, rescued people who were rescued, liberators, and all kinds of different organizations that were involved in the Holocaust. So that's what I've been doing lately and continue to do now. I went back to work about 6 weeks after Ari passed away, and it, even though teleworking, but at least it's a distraction. So that's my story.
Okay.
Thank you, Grace. And I know we're all terribly sorry for your loss. That brings us to Nikki. Unmute yourself, Nikki.
Hi. Why?
Hey.
Wow.
I can honestly say that I very rarely am at a loss for words. Donnie Cates' father's birthday is July 30th, right, Donnie?
That's right.
And mine's the 31st, but I'm now your Dalit of. I celebrate. Now that I'm older, I wait to the last. It's farther away. But I am sitting here. I cannot tell you. My grandchildren and my daughter-in-law are in the other room, and I said I'm really sorry, but once in 55 years, I'm not going to miss it. I'm looking at Bella, I'm looking at Gail, I'm looking at Bluma. I remember the houses, I remember the streets, I remember the parents, I remember, like Naomi was talking about, the Levitanskis, the welcoming, the taking care of us, the Cooksey, the East Rogers Parkers, Cooksey and me, and who else? Yeah, who else was in East Rogers Park?
Gloria.
Somebody else I saw.
We go back to Kesser Mara.
And besides Gloria, no, somebody else was in East
Sylvia
Rogers.
lived in East Rogers Park.
Sylvia Kushner, but I mean Sylvia Shore.
Aileen
lived 3 blocks from me. I remember her parents, her sisters. My God, we grew
go
up
back
together.
to Kesser
We
Mara.
go back to way back before I even knew who I was.
I remember your parents.
I remember.
Me too. Me too.
Listen, 55 years I don't remember, but then I remember this was like 70 years ago. I am in shock. Richie Friedman's sister, Seema. Richie, you have a sister, Seema, right?
Debbie.
What's your sister's name?
Debbie. Debbie.
One sister, Debbie?
Debbie, yeah. Greenspan, Debbie Greenspan?
Greenspan. No, I am.
Nikki?
When I got
Nikki?
here, I came to Israel. Yeah.
Nikki, tell us what you've been doing for the
Right,
last
we want to know about you.
55 years.
Yeah, you know, why? I left the academy when I graduated. Got on a plane, went to Israel for a year to Hacharad B'nai Akiva. Came back, went to Peoria, to Bradley University.
3 of you did, right,
I
Diane?
went to
speech therapy.
I got my degree and my master's in speech pathology. Lived in New York with Cooksey, Razi, and Riva for 6 months. I could not take New York. I unfortunately, I'm sorry for everyone who loves New York, but I left. Thank God I left. Thank God I wasn't happy there. I got my master's in Peoria. Got on in January of 72. And in February of 72, Tanit Esther, I got on the plane and came in Aliyah. So I've been here since 72, married since 74.
Your sister was Sima. I said, that's not my sister.
No, somebody else's sister. But she was an aide at the Beit.
So Nikki, where do you live?
So we live in Katamonim, not far from Minda, not far from Talpiot. We have 3 children. I worked until not long ago as a speech pathologist in special ed in all kinds of schools, the deaf, blind, mentally handicapped, mental, whatever they were then, autistic, learning disabilities, loved every minute of it. Now we are 3 children. One of them is not married. Donnie, you're going to marry off my youngest son, please.
Send me the information.
I will give you all his information. The other 2 are one in Yerucham in the south, one in Mevaseret outside of Yerushalayim with 6 grandchildren. And well, I am still in shock. I'm Bluma's parents. Bluma, my God. You don't know. I have tears in my eyes. I'm looking at this. I'm just reliving. Gloria met me at the airport when I came in Aliyah. That's, you know, the people that I met in that school, they're still, you know, I don't see everybody, but the reliving of the goodness, of the gratitude, of the being there for someone else. You know, I don't think, but, you know, the typing teacher got me.
Now, does everybody understand why I left Nikki for last?
Oh, God, I am so touched. I am so touched. I don't know if I talked to anybody. So I love you all.
Everybody's had a chance to talk. If we want to have some crosstalk now, we have time. Don't have to, but if anybody wants to say anything else after listening to everybody, I don't know. Albert, are you on the call or not? I see your name. I presume it's Judy's husband, right?
It is.
Albert, do you want to talk?
Wait a minute, Sam. Do people use WhatsApp?
Some do, some don't. Judy, tell your husband to talk.
I can't call because I'm on the phone.
Oh, Albert, this is your chance.
I can't. He may have walked us for a minute. I don't know. He's been on it.
Okay. So there are a few people who aren't here. I mentioned 1 or 2 of them. I have been trying like crazy to find David Nanberg and Neil Kleinbort, and particularly Jerry Epstein. So I have to tell a story. You know, on the internet, they have these services. You pay them a few dollars and they find people. So on Friday, Erev Shabbos last week, I paid money to find Jerry Epstein. Now, the last I heard from Jerry Epstein, he was evading the draft in Canada.
Right, Canada.
In Canada. But this service said he lived in Fort Lauderdale. Now he's in Boynton, then he's in Boca. I get a phone number. I call up. And a woman answers the phone. I said, my name is Sam Sugar. I'm from the past, at Chicago. And it goes like this. Jerry, pick up the phone. It's somebody. So some guy gets on the phone, and I swear to God, it's Jerry Epstein. His voice is unmistakable. unmistakable. And I said, Jerry, hi, it's Sam Sugar, the Academy, Chicago. I says, I don't know what you're talking about. Click. So I tried to find David Nammer. Thank God I found Jean Levy. Do you know where these guys are, Jean?
Right. Yeah. I could give it a try. They live in Chicago.
It's a little late now.
Yeah, but how about next year?
I haven't seen Jerry Epstein also in over 55 years. But one thing I remember, I don't know if you remember Mayor Brenner from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Yeah, yeah.
Mayor Brenner from Shreveport, Louisiana. He was accepted. He had like a 4-year scholarship to one of the schools in California, and he was going to go. He really wanted to go. And Jerry Epstein was a good friend of his, and he says, "Why don't you talk to Dr. The philosopher?" He says, Dr. Berkowitz. Ask Dr. Berkowitz. So we were sure Dr. Berkowitz would tell him, go to university. You'll get a good degree. So Dr. Berkowitz says, why don't you try to go to Israel for a year? Go to Keren B'Yavneh for a year. Go learn. So he went to learn. And he's now a Rosh Kollel in Mexico for the last 35 years. So Jerry Epstein was the one who got him to become a Rosh Kollel in Mexico.
Wow.
And there you go.
I saw Jerry Epstein maybe 20 years ago in Florida. He was doing some kind of stock brokerage something.
Yes,
I was with my
he was
parents.
a stockbroker.
I was with my parents in the office there, and he just walked right in. And that's the last I ever heard of him. It was about 25 years ago. Someplace in Florida.
That's what I thought.
I have a feeling I found him. As a matter of fact, I think it was him. He just didn't want to talk.
Maybe in 5 years when we have the 60th, they'll show up.
That's right.
God willing. God willing.
Did you tell him you were from the draft board?
That would have gotten his attention. Yeah. So we took a little poll, and I apologize, I can't seem to pull it up, but the question was, who was the best teacher? Who was the worst teacher? I will tell you that the worst teacher was absolutely a runaway. Anybody want to guess?
Fremont.
You got it. Ruby Fremont.
Ruby Fremont.
Ruby.
Not my word.
Ruby.
Then we had a question, who was your favorite Hebrew studies teacher?
Rabbi Eisenberg.
It was not Mrs. Carell.
Oh, God.
Yveret Carell.
It was not Rabbi Tucker.
Rabbi Well.
Eisenberg.
It
Dr.
wasn't
Schefter.
Rabbi Well. It was Rabbi
Rabbi
Pfefferman.
Oh, Rabbi Pfefferman.
I love the
He was
Yeah,
great.
he's a wonderful, wonderful man.
Wonderful man.
I was surprised not more people voted for David Silver, who was an equally wonderful, wonderful man.
That was a big Rosh Hashanah. Yeah.
And there was a question about your favorite experience or your favorite memory. Now, somebody said, I don't know who, said it was the time I stuck a frog down Ruby Fremont's dress. Who said that?
I said that.
Who's that?
That is one of my strongest memories, Sam, is you throwing a frog down her dress, the front of her dress. It may be apocryphal.
It never happened.
That's what I remember.
I remember, Sam. Sam, I remember it. This is Nikki talking. You did it.
She had a hearing aid down there.
Yeah, that's right. She had a hearing aid.
Ray Lavin, who was on the call with us for a few minutes, did the best one, though. Do you remember what he did?
He tape
Diane.
recorded the bell. Yes.
He tape recorded
the bell.
No.
It rang, and we all closed our books, got up, and walked out of the class.
That's right.
And we changed the clock.
Yes, we changed the clock.
Changed the clock to match the
I
bell.
remember everyone whispering,
Forgot
and
about
she kept turning up her hearing aid, and then everyone would
Yes.
yell.
Yeah, we did
When
that
I
too.
think of this,
We
I
were not
cried. It
nice.
was so awful.
No, we were terrible.
We were terrible.
אני מבקש סליחה על דברים כאלה, ממש. חיים. What? And we were such nice, naive kids, really.
We
did
also
not
made
do
up
these
silly
bad
songs
things.
about them.
You brought out the worst in people.
Do you
I don't know.
remember we used to take chalk and write at the end of every biology class, she would go
Shrieking
around
on
and
the chalk.
what?
Oi,
What?
Shrieking the chalk on the
Yeah,
floor.
but she would clean off our desks, and some of us would take, you know, the desks used to lift up, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
we would write Corny and Ruby with a heart because that was Cornelius Henze, the chemistry teacher.
Oh, the chemistry teacher.
אני סגרתי רגע.
He was very nice. I liked him.
Wait 1 second. So there are lots of other stories, if anyone would like to share.
Thank
See,
God
you
I-
girls were all too goody-goody.
But I'll tell you something I do remember that isn't, has nothing to do with torturing teachers. I came across, I know at some point I was cleaning up stuff. I don't remember what I came across, but it must have been something I wrote in high school. And it was about what career I was going to pick. And then I had this whole recollection. And I said in some paper in 9th grade, I wrote all about being a social worker. And I went to Hull House in Chicago. I investigated it. I had totally forgotten that. And it was after I formally retired from the university. And I said, in high school, I knew I was going to be a social worker. And that was kind of astounding to me that, how, because I had no clue what I wanted to be. And it was really, I only chose social work after I made Aliyah because I needed a way of supporting myself. And it was a profession.
It seemed to work out.
It worked out beautifully.
Wonderful.
Aileen, do you have a sister, Sabrina, that lives in Silver Spring, Maryland? What?
Sabine lived in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Right, I remember her.
And made Aliyah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
really?
live there in Yerushalayim now.
Where does she live?
She lives in Yerushalayim, right on Derech Hebron.
Oh, I live.
Sabine was on the radio for many, many years.
That's my other sister. That's
Regine,
yeah.
That's
Every
right.
time I would hear her name and I'd think about you, so I would think about you almost every day.
Yeah.
Elaine,
Wow.
The three sisters with the
I
French.
have to tell her that. She'll love it.
Is she
Jane,
still at
Jane, and Lee.
WBBM?
She is not.
Does anybody know what happened to Chaiki Ziskin?
Yeah.
She's
in Yerushalayim. She lives in Jerusalem.
I did see her about a year ago. She lost her sister who lived in Efrat, and I walked into the Shiva house and I said, Chaiki Ziskin, what are you doing here? And we recognized each other immediately. And it was just like yesterday. It was like
For those of you who don't know, she married Alan Novetsky. Alan had a marvelous career as an oncologist in Long Island and has now retired to do photography.
Wow.
And they live, do they live in the Pritz, what is it, the Pinsker building? The Pritz, what building?
Her parents did.
That's it, yeah.
So are they living in Israel?
Yeah.
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 And I did speak to Faggy Newman on Sunday.
Oh.
I'm surprised she's not here. Also Malky Shore.
Malky's working. That's why
Malky
she's
works
not
running
here.
a pediatrics office. She's married to Tzvi Shore. They live in
Who
Baltimore.
was Malky before? What was her maiden name?
Steinmetz.
Oh, where does she live?
She lives in Baltimore. She's a medical something or other and runs a pediatrics office. I'm surprised she's not here. And
But she said she
Faggy-
couldn't. She's at work today.
Oh, I told her just to take 5 minutes.
I see her sometimes because her brother lives in my community.
Alan and Serena live
Yeah,
right by
so I
you,
see
right?
Malky every once in a while when she comes to visit.
Right. Faggy married a fellow by the name of Aryeh Lebovic, who is a very successful business. Now I see somebody, just a second, there's a 773 person on the phone. Who is that? Unmute yourself, whoever that is. Hello? I feel like Larry King. Hello, 773. I don't know who that is. Anyhow, Faggy is an investment counselor. She also has lots and lots and lots of grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And I think she told me she has one great-grandchild. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But she's doing very well, and they live in Toronto.
Right. No, that's
Yeah, I see them
She lives
periodically.
in Lawrence.
In Lawrence?
She lives
Oh,
in
but she's
Lawrence.
building a house in Lawrence.
It's finished already. It was her parents' home, and when they passed away, she got it. She renovated it, and now she's living there. I don't know if she's half in Toronto and half in Lawrence, but she is in Lawrence.
Yeah, she's trying to get ready to move out of Toronto and into Lawrence. That's what she said.
Yeah, she I
Anybody
think
else?
has some kids in Lawrence also.
Could be. Does anybody else have any news of our fellow classmates?
I didn't know if you remember. I didn't.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Francie.
Wait, one at a time.
Yeah.
One at a time.
Who's talking?
Aileen, please, you, and then Rabbi Friedman.
So I think one of the things we should do is just make note of the people in the class who are no longer with us.
Yeah, and I made reference to that. It goes like this. Ruthie Polsky died a long, long, long time ago of, I understand, breast cancer. I'm not sure. She was married to Shelley Lopin. Lillian, what were you saying?
It was colon cancer.
Colon cancer. She's been gone a long time. Sheila Croman, remember her?
Wow.
Sheila Croman unfortunately did die of breast cancer. I know that because she was working in the hospital as a secretary where I was the medical director in Glenview, Illinois. Fern Miller Weller, who was married to Herschel Weller, who practices now at the hospital that I was medical director in. Fern died in November. I don't know from what.
Sam Bolderman.
Oh yeah. Sam and I went to medical school together. We were friends since kindergarten, and he had a long protracted illness, unfortunately. I don't know the exact cause, but he left us last year as well. That's all I know of. Does anybody else?
Shiva, no, Beryl Tessler. Beryl Tessler died also.
Oh, sure.
Remember
What?
Abe Hershkovitz.
Yeah.
Well, did Abe go to the yeshiva, Richie?
Yeah. Who's that? Abe who?
Hershkovitz.
Abe Hershkowitz.
Yeah, he also
Yeah, he
was
went
in the
to
class,
yeshiva.
right? Yeah, he was also, He also
Did he pass away, Bella?
He passed away also,
I think he had, I heard he had a brain tumor.
He passed away, yeah.
Oh my gosh, so absolutely sad.
Yeah, Leo Mauer passed away from the yeshiva. Leo
Yes,
Mauer.
that's true also.
Yeah, I spoke to Sam Balderman maybe a few days before he died.
And
I called
also,
him,
also Izzy Ferrero died. He went to the yeshiva.
Right.
When did Izzy
yeah,
Ferrero die?
Yeah, Izzy
That's
Ferrero,
a while ago.
Yeah, he had a heart attack. He was playing handball. He had a heart attack
All right.
at the JCC.
I'd like Sam. I'd like to share. I was very close to Sam Balderman, and he passed away. I was Menachem Ovo in Buffalo. I didn't make the Levaya. Michelle Siegel was one of the Maspidim. It was their Shabbos. I just couldn't take a chance of not getting back to New York for Shabbos, but I went the following week. But I want to tell you a story about Sam's career. This is something unbelievable. Sam was a brilliant surgeon, and he was the head of the cardiology department at the University of Buffalo. And the 48 hours to 60 minutes, one of those big television programs did an expose of his department and discovered that there was a high proportion of patients that just didn't make it that were operated in his department. And it discredited him, and he lost his position at the university. And for 10 years, he was running around the country taking depositions of people, NBC, ABC, CBS. It was. I know the name of the person that really buried him. It was Chris Wallace, and I don't know who Chris Wallace was working for at that time. And Chris Wallace,
I think CNN.
I don't know.
No, it was CBS. It was 60 Minutes.
Was CBS?
And he destroyed his career, and then he ended up taking blood pressure in clinics, and it was such a tragedy. And he told me he went to Nashville. He had to take a deposition. That's the only place that he could catch up with these people. And then the judge threw it out because the judge says, well, just because somebody says on TV that you're a lousy doctor doesn't make it a fact. And so he threw out the case. And it was a big tragedy.
Let me supplement that a little bit, because he and I were classmates forever through medical school. You're right, Sam Balderman was an exceptional cardiothoracic surgeon, but that was his downfall, because he had so much confidence in his skills that he took on cases that no one else would. And what that did is he was operating on people who were very old and very sick because he thought that he could help them. Sadly, he couldn't. And that's where all this trouble started. But there was never a doubt. I remember him in medical school lectures in the 3rd and 4th years, those of you who aren't physicians don't know this, but we practice tying surgical knots. My hands were too big. I got thrown out of operating rooms all the time. But Sam was so good. He was so dexterous. He could tie a knot just like that. And that led to his ultimate moving to New York from Chicago. And he was a terrific doctor, but that's fine. But he was such a nice, sweet soul. Fortunately, he got married later in life to a lovely woman, right, Leon?
Lawyer.
Right.
Had some kids, and thank God he has a legacy.
He has 4 or 5 children.
Yeah. Speaking of Shale Siegel, everybody remember Shale?
Sure.
Shale lives in Florida now, about a block and a half from where I used to live in Aventura, Florida. He lives in a high-rise with David Lerner is actually there now too. He's younger, but he was a partner of mine. He's married to Smadar, who is an Israeli girl. And he's had some health issues, but right now he's fine. He was in the nursing home business for a long time, may still be. Shale Siegel. I'm still curious whose phone number is 773-647-8912.
Maybe it's Ray Levin.
I don't know.
Maybe, huh?
Maybe we should call him.
You call him. Call him.
I'll give you the number, 77.
I see it. Call him.
All right, somebody call him.
Call him.
Now we're all going to call him. It'll be busy, of course, you know.
Call him. Okay.
I wanted to also just reminisce about teachers.
47. That's okay.
I'm just going to say Francie Levitansky lives in Chicago. Riva Levitansky lives here in Israel. Razi Rosenblum Fischler lives in Harnof here in Israel. I don't know why.
Wendy Levitansky.
When did Razi move?
Oh, a long time.
He's been here.
I'm gonna have to say
maybe
goodbye.
almost 10 years, I'd say.
Thank you, Sam.
8 years, something like that. She all 5 children in America, and they came on Aliyah.
Oh, wow.
Good for them.
What about Francie Levitansky?
Francie lives right about 2 blocks from me in West Rogers Park. We don't see each other very much, but she lives right by in West Rogers Park.
How is she?
The last time I saw her, she was fine.
I WhatsApp her every day. We say Tehillim together for lots of people. And she's a sweetheart. Another person whose house was just, and still is.
Yeah.
She just saves people who need to come to Chicago. She helped my son, my parents, just these people with hearts of gold. And I wish she'd come, but she didn't. And a sweet.
Did anybody call that 773 number?
No.
No. Okay, well, whoever you are, 773, I bet it's Ray Lavin, but I'm not sure. I wanted to bring
I don't think
this.
it's Ray Levin.
Huh?
It's not Ray Levin.
No?
It's not really, because I called somebody and there was an answering machine and the voice sounded like a little bit of accent. It wasn't Ray Levin.
Okay.
It was not.
Well, whoever it is, I'm sorry you didn't get to talk. I wanted to end this on an up note. This was definitely worth all the trouble putting it together.
Thank you so much.
Really loved seeing everybody.
Thank you,
And
Sam.
Anybody
so
who's ever down this way, I live in Hollywood, Florida. It's a beautiful area. Come visit. I know that when we come to Israel, and all of us either live there or go there a lot. I know Diane's there when it's not COVID. Everybody's welcome to visit me. I'm sure everybody else is welcome to visit everybody else. And this has been a lot of fun. Last words from anybody?
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you so much.
All of
Thank
you,
you so much.
You're welcome. All of you will get an email. Everybody will get an email with everybody else's email. And later today, I will send out another email with a link to this meeting, which has been recorded in its entirety.
Thank you so much.
Share it as you like.
Thank you, Sam.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Everyone.
Let's do this
So
again.
much.